private equity component of it. You mentioned security benefit getting involved in this and the changing landscape of sports and how these entities are starting to run them a little bit differently and viewing liability differently.
So private equity is really interesting, not only just in sports, but like in our industry as well, right? In the insurance space, in the AUM space. I mean, private equity gets into everything. And you're seeing companies like Arctos and Redbird Capital and these other companies actually get into all kinds of sports franchise, mostly as minority owners.
Mhm.
But the point is that they're getting into more and more things. Now, the interesting thing with private equity is it brings some very, very intelligent people into the sports world. And so that's where we're seeing a lot of the transformation going on. So the perfect example of that is the Dodgers. So the management group behind the Dodgers also is a management group that works with security benefit and other insurance companies in our industry. And one of those guys, Todd Bowley, to me is one of the smartest guys I can think of. And so they go into these organizations and they just kind of take what they already know and look at the rules and then basically say, hey, we could structure this a lot better to make more money, to get better TV revenue and all kinds of sorts of things that are important to the business, but haven't been spotlighted the way it has until these private equities. Even when you look at the Atlanta Braves, right? You get a public investment model like the Atlanta Braves brought in Liberty Media, right? And so now they're raising stock and doing things like that. Also, it's the notion of what the Braves are doing and other organizations in sports of when you go into a sport, right? So they have revenue sharing.
Mhm.
So anything that happens within the actual stadium basically gets divided with revenue and it helps smaller market teams compete.
Yeah.
What these companies have realized is, hey, that doesn't apply to what's outside of the stadium. And so like here in Atlanta, if you've been to a Braves game,
Yep.
they have this beautiful facility down there outside
The
and
battery.
basically the battery. And
Mhm.
what the battery does is it generates a whole next level of revenue that is not required to be split with any of the other MLB franchises.
I do think that that format, that idea, because you see that in other places. I think it's in Oklahoma City. They got Bricktown, where it's this little hub.
St. Louis has it. I mean, yeah, you go all over the country and more places are jumping into this area where traffic is blocked off. People are able to go around. They're shopping, they're eating, they're drinking before the game, after the game, hanging out and spending more money. Absolutely.
This is a changing landscape for sports and for sports fans. Do you think the average sports fan needs to be like tuned into this sort of thing?
Well, I
I know
mean,
you and I are a little bit more interested, but
this is really, I mean, we still haven't even gotten to like college sports, NIL money. We haven't gotten into gambling and what that's kind of doing
oh,
to the industry. And so there's so many different places that you can kind of take this conversation. But the point is, it is really, really interesting in how it's being run, who's getting involved, what the landscape looks like today. I mean, look at NIL. Like NIL is just crazy. Like you look at players in the, so Ohio Smith has a wide receiver by the name of, or Ohio State has a wide receiver by the name of Jeremiah Smith. He's making $4.2 million in college. The quarterback from South Carolina, Lenora Sellers, he makes $3.7 million. And so at some level, like, you know, there's even a Senate bill out there that basically is going to be proposed where kids could be in college and they could get drafted and actually go back to college.
really?
I mean, it's all kinds of interesting international athletes. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you could potentially look at that is going to change 2 years, 3 years down the road that we're not even remotely thinking about right now.